A new card always raises the same question. Is this card really good? Do we have a new toy? Today, let's test Moonshadow in Legacy Blue Dredge and see how it really performs in an Eternal format. Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your Dredge guy, and today we are back to Blue Dredge, one of our fun favorites here of this channel. I love Blue Dredge, I was missing playing some Blue Dredge, and now we have the best excuse to play it again. We want to test Moonshadow, this beautiful sweet new card from Lowering in Legacy Dredge. But Moonshadow is not so fast. It works as one of the most perfect turn 1 drops that Dredge could have without activating the graveyard immediately. Moonshadow, we already had one great video about this card in Modern last week, and this week let's test this in Legacy. Moonshadow grows every time we put a permanent in our graveyard. How can we do that? Of course, we have some fetch lands. Since this is Blue Dredge, we also have a Surveil land. In Legacy Dredge, usually we don't have Surveil lands, but Blue Dredge can have one of them. We have Otherworldly Gaze. This is an extremely good card with Moonshadow because every time you cast it, even with flashback, you usually will find at least one permanent to put it into your graveyard, And of course, Careful Study and Brainstorm. Brainstorm in Blue Dredge is excellent because every time you resolve Brainstorm with dredgers in your graveyard, I'm talking about, of course, Golgari Thugs, Think Deep, and Golgari Grave Troll. Instead of drawing cards, you can dredge cards, and every time you dredge, you will probably, almost 100% sure, you will find some permanents because we have several permanents in our deck, and then Moonshadow can even grow to a 7/7 menace creature on turn 2. How is this possible? You can play Moonshadow and then cast Otherworldly Gaze on your upkeep, dredge, cast Brainstorm, and boom, 7/7 menace. Can we achieve this dream? Let's see. Since this is Blue Dredge and we have several blue spells, we have access to Force of Will. And lately, here on Magic Online, the format is starting again to be a little too combo-centric. So you have lots of Storm decks, Cradle Control decks, so many opponents that can suffer if you play a Force of Will on the right timing. What else we are trying today? Oh yeah, the comeback of Echo Read. Echo Read is a classic of Legacy Dredge, of course, but it lost some space in the format with Poxwalkers being printed. Poxwalkers usually works just as a faster Echo Read. But this time, since we have 4 extra black creatures, and black creatures are Echo Read food, and since this deck is slower than our Turbo Dredge counterpart, also because Surgical Extraction is a reality in the format against several opponents who have 2, 3, or even 4 copies in their sideboards, so it makes sense to have more variety of threats. So if your opponent wants to target your Narcomoeba, you still have Echo Reads, Poxwalkers, and Bridge from Below. If your opponent wants to target your bridges, you can still win with a Giant Hogak, and so on. So let's see how this goes. Oh, I'm testing one basic swamp here as well. If you know me here from this channel, you know that I love playing at least 2 basics in Legacy because Wasteland is everywhere. So every now and then this basic swamp will haunt us. We will have a blue spell and no islands, but we have 13 other lands to find blue and just a basic swamp when you definitely want to play around Wasteland, and we have Moonshadow, for example, in our starting hand. I don't think we need to play this around Moonshadow. I mean, mulligan until finding Moonshadow, of course not. Moonshadow is just a nice bonus for this deck, and every now and then you'll not have access to Moonshadow and you'll just perform as a traditional Blue Dredge, countering some spells and disrupting your opponent's hand with Cabal Therapy, and slowly but surely winning the game with zombies. But sometimes you have Moonshadow in your starting hand, and things will be great, I hope. Let's see. What about our sideboard? The sideboard is pretty similar to what we already played here on this channel. We have Leyline of the Void against other graveyard decks, Unmask is a catch-all against almost everyone, Ashen Rider and Dread Return when we really need to exile some permanents, and also some bounce spells. Today I'm testing Echoing Truth instead of Curious Dismissal, and that's pretty much it. Let's jump into today's games. Don't forget to click like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you are excited to see Moonshadow in an Eternal format. Let's do it right now. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Guys, you are awesome, and I can create content because of your continuous support. If you also want to help me as a content creator, please go there, check my Patreon page, patreon.com/thedredgeguy. See you there. Round 1, we are paired against harmonywoods. And this is a keep. We have Moonshadow, Dredgers, lands, Otherworldly Gaze, Cabal Therapy, a little bit of everything. My opponent starts with Polluted Delta for an Underground Sea. Ooh, Thoughtseize. So we will lose Moonshadow or Otherworldly Gaze. Let's see my opponent's choice. It seems that it's not that easy. My opponent is thinking here. It all depends on what else they have in their hand. If they have removal spells, of course, discard Otherworldly Gaze. If they don't have removal spells and don't have other counter spells, it would be better to just discard Moonshadow. Fun fact, I'm recording this late at night for me. Yeah, usually I would be almost sleeping by this time. But since we are close to Carnival here in Brazil, there are several samba schools here nearby. And they have rehearsals until 8, so I couldn't record this earlier. And that's why I'm recording this. We'll probably finish this league after midnight. Whoa, opponent is deep in the tank with this decision, almost 2 minutes. Oh, okay, my opponent lost connection. That explains. They are coming back. Oh, opponent took the therapy. Interesting. Interesting choice. We drew a land. I think I will just cast Otherworldly Gaze now instead of casting Moonshadow. We will not lose anything here. Let's see what we are playing. What is our opponent's plan here? Tamio. So Blue-Black Temple maybe? Esper and Brainstorm. My opponent will flip Tamio immediately. So it's fine. Let's allow that. We could cast Otherworldly Gaze immediately here, but if my opponent counters our Otherworldly Gaze, I think that's fine. Or Moonshadow, if Moonshadow resolves, it might be even better because we can pressure Tamio on turns 3 and 4. So let's play slow here. Okay, Careful Study is pretty good. Undercity Sewers, surveying to the top. We draw Careful Study. Now I'll play Moonshadow. We are playing it around days. Okay, my opponent pressed F6, so everything will resolve. Moonshadow loses 1 counter. Let's grab Underground Sea here. We are Wasteland proof. And now Moonshadow grows to a 3-3. We are playing against Esper. We have an Ichorid in our graveyard. Not sure if we'll reanimate this Ichorid yet. We have only 1 Dredger. But Moonshadow now will not lose to an Orcish Bowmasters. My opponent has Polluted Delta for an Undercity Sewers. Alright. They don't want Snapcaster Mage. So this is Esper Control. Murktide Regent. This is an early Murktide. Only a 5-5. Murktide cannot block Moonshadow, so we will do some damage to Tamio next turn. 3 cards in my opponent's hand. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze on our upkeep to grow Moonshadow, and yeah, we found another Dredger, so we can put everything into our graveyard. Moonshadow grows to a 4-4. Now, how aggressive we want to be. We haven't a Cephalic Coliseum in our hand. I think, okay, let's wait. Let's wait. We could reanimate this Ichorid, but I think we can wait. We are not playing against a combo deck, I think. I don't think my opponent is playing Esper Doomsday. So let's crack Cephalic Coliseum. Dredge 6. Moonshadow is already a 7-7. Great. It would be an 8-8 if those counters were +1/+1 instead. Maybe next year, Wizards of the Coast will print opposite Moonshadow. Every time a card hits your graveyard, it gets +1/+1. The power creep. But it's nice. We played Moonshadow last turn, and it's already a 7-7. So let's see what's on my opponent's hand. We'll definitely attack Tamio here to kill Tamio, but let's see what's going on first. We can even cast Hogak this turn, so I'll name Swords to Plowshares. Orcish Bowmasters and Tamio. Okay, so let's win. We don't have more Cabal Therapy, so let's just attack Tamio. We can block Murktide forever. There's not much my opponent can do here. Our creatures are bigger and better. Yeah, my opponent concedes. And now... I think we will not change much. I prefer Unmask against this deck instead of Force of Will, because they usually have more counterspells than us. And Unmask is more proactive. We can see what's going on and then cast a Cabal Therapy. We could include Dread Return and Ashen Rider too, but I think we already have enough power to win against Blue-Black Temple. I mean Esper Temple, Esper Control. This is not that good. We could try something here. I'll keep it because we are on the draw, and so many draws will put this hand on the top. Any land, any enabler, even black cards are good. Oh, my opponent has a Thoughtseize. Okay. So I bet they will take our Brainstorm, and then we'll need to top deck something good here. This is one of those hands where you could cast Unmask targeting your opponent and then Unmask targeting you, so you can discard your Stink with Imp and then cast Brainstorm all in the same turn. It's kind of one all-in hand. Considering what Blue Dredge can do, this would be an all-in hand. Let's draw. Cabal Therapy, not great. Okay, we are not favored to win this game unless my opponent's hand is garbage, so I think we need to see what's going on. If this is Esper, I'm not sure if my opponent has Daze, but let's play around Daze anyways. And now exile 1 imp. Oh, 2 forces and 1 stock up. Let's take stock up and pass the turn. We don't need to take any forces now. If we top deck a land on turn 2, we can cast a Cabal Therapy naming one of the forces. Opponent draws, Polluted Delta, and passes. So 2 forces and 1 unknown card. We draw another Moonshadow. I think we can wait one more turn before committing to this Unmask. My opponent surveils. 1 card on top, alright. Third land, Flooded Strand, and passes, alright. Alright. My opponent is giving us time. We unfortunately drew another Dredger. Since this is a control matchup, I know about half of my opponent's hand. Okay, my opponent has a Thoughtseize here. I guess they will take Unmask? Yeah. Let's draw a land. A land, yes. So my opponent will definitely counter our Moonshadow here. This is still a slow game. We could cast Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves here to discard Sync with Imp and forget that Moonshadow exists. But I think my opponent will probably spend a counter spell here. No? Okay, we have a Moonshadow. Maybe my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters? Only 3 cards in their hand, 2 are forces. Maybe this is a removal? Orcish Bowmasters, alright. That's still fine. It's a bummer, but it's still fine. Opponent attacks, whatever. Orcish Bowmasters deal 2 damage. And now we draw Careful Study. Great. Opponent has 3 cards in their hand. They have Force of Negation mana. So I think I'll cast Cabal Therapy targeting my... They will definitely counter this Cabal Therapy, right? Okay, let's cast Moonshadow here, because Force of Negation cannot do anything against Moonshadow. And now I'll pass the turn. Unless my opponent, last card, the last top deck was another Orcish Bowmasters. It wasn't. Polluted Delta for my opponent, and Tamio. So opponent has Force of Negation and Force of Will, and that's it. No attacks. Oh, okay, I'm sorry guys. It's late. So Unmask, targeting my opponent, exiling 1 Thug. Okay, let's exile Cabal Therapy here. The thing is, I actually don't care if Moonshadow will live or not here. I just want to put my Dredgers and draw 2 cards, even if Orcish Bowmasters grows the army token. Okay, my opponent will getting stock up back on top. And now they will counter my Unmask with Force of Negation. So let's do it. And if my opponent kills Moonshadow, that's perfectly fine. We drew 2 lands, which is great. Okay, opponent is killing Moonshadow. Just in case they targeted Moonshadow twice. In case we had a Street Wraith or something. They have only a Force of Will. And we will dredge 3 times. Dredge 5, dredge 4, and dredge 5. Perfect. Nothing good yet, but I feel like we are ahead now. We can crack Cephalic Coliseum again next turn and then surveil once. My opponent has a stock up. 3 cards in my opponent's hand. We're down to 14. Tamio creates a clue token. What are the chances that we prefer to just cast Otherworldly Gaze instead of cracking Cephalic Coliseum? Probably none. So let's crack Cephalic Coliseum on our upkeep. And we'll dredge 5 and 6 and 6. We'll discard all of our dredgers. We have 3 Narcos. We have Poxwalkers, Hogak. Only 1 bridge so far. We found Narco and another bridge. So from here it must be easy. Let's see. Survey 1. Let's put Sync with Imp in our bin. We have 7 cards remaining in our deck. And now we have some therapies. Let's put my opponent in a therapy mode. Force of Will. Okay, my opponent chose another force and stock up. So let's cast our second therapy. We don't care about Force of Negation here, so let's just grab this stock up. And now we can cast Hogak. Let's keep our blockers. I don't think my opponent will attack, but we can exile several cards. And that's it. Opponent has just a Force of Negation in their hand. They can crack a clue, maybe chew to flip Tamio, but then we can easily win the game. Okay, my opponent draws and attacks. My opponent needs removal here. Mass removal or at least a Source to Plowshares. They will flip Tamio. Tamio goes up. Okay, nothing. So our Ichorid will come back. Do we even attack Tamio here? Let's dredge 4. Okay, we found our last Cabal Therapy. I will cast Otherworldly Gaze here. Let's see if my opponent wants to commit their Force of Negation. I don't think so. Yeah, we found our last bridge. 2 cards remaining on top of our deck. And now I'll cast this Cabal Therapy before combat, because I know that my opponent will block and we will lose our bridges. So let's get some value now. Let's just name Force of Negation, but yeah, my opponent has a little bit of everything there. Brainstorm is their best card. 7, 9, 11. We have Lethal here. We don't need to attack Tamio. So let's attack our opponent. We don't need to attack with Narcos. Tamio triggers several times. The thing is, my opponent needs to block our Poxwalkers and Ichorid, so we'll gain even more zombie tokens. And now my opponent is down to 1. And that's it. I'm not sure if my opponent's Brainstorm can deal with this. I don't think they play Terminus. So another Tamiyo and another Brainstorm. So my opponent will... Yeah, opponent concedes. We won our first match. Round 2. Oh, we are on the play against the Bryant Cook with 2 forces. Bryant is a storm specialist, so let's keep this hand with enablers and forces and lands. We don't have dredgers yet, but I don't care. Let's start with Undercity Sewers here. Okay, another Force of Will. Let's skip it. Considering this is the first game, Force of Will is premium here. Lotus Petal for Bryant. Chrome Mox. Exciting Brainstorm. Another Brainstorm. Okay. We must be aware of Veil of Summer. But since we have multiple forces, maybe that's okay. Lotus Petal. LED. And Bossage. Alright. Oh, Bryant dumped his hand because we have Cabal Therapy, so that's respect. Otherworldly Gaze for us. Okay. We have Dredgers. I think we'll do our thing here, right? I think we can wait, actually, because since we already have Dredgers, okay, my opponent will just draw a card, that's fine. We can wait because we can just dredge... Oh, another Veil. Okay, let's not allow that. A second Veil. My opponent has one last card in his hand. Let's say no to Veil of Summer. 2 Veils, 2 forces. Opponent has 1 card in his hand, and he's passing. Let's crack Polluted Delta. What is that last card on Bryant's hand? Let's think here for a moment. Bryant chose he didn't go for it. Maybe because he doesn't have enough mana here. If he has a tutor, he would need to tutor something that costs 3 mana. If Bryant doesn't have an Echo of Eons in his sideboard, this could be Burning Wish. It's definitely not Infernal Tutor, I think. I might be wrong, I'm not a Storm specialist. But let's cast this Cabal Therapy here. And I'm naming Burning Wish. Ding, ding, ding. I think one of the best emotions that we can live in Magic the Gathering is feeling smart after a blind Cabal Therapy. Okay, Bryant has a Lion's Eye Diamond and passes. Okay, we need to win. Bryant can top deck something at any moment. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Ooh, Cephalic Elysium. Oh, I think we will win this. We need only 2 turns to win this. This and it next. So Cephalic Elysium, let's crack it. We need to create zombies here. Dredge. Narcomoeba is our friend. Dredge 5. Come on, Narco. Dredge 6. Only 1, but it's fine. We have 2 Eco Reads there and 1 Poxwalkers. Oh, no bridges though. But let's change this Narcomoeba into a Poxwalkers. A Tale for the Ages. And next turn we can deal 9 damage. So we'll definitely create more zombies next turn. We will find bridges. So Bryant draws a card. We need 2 turns, this and the next. Okay, it was a blank. So let's exile Moonshadow. Moonshadow is here to be Eco Read food. We'll dredge 6. Okay, now we have bridges. Great. Let's attack first. Opponent down to 11. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze now. Okay, Narcomoeba. We don't need anything here. And let's check. I don't think Bryant has something useful here. I think I'll just name Brainstorm because this could be something that Bryant would save for a bigger turn. So Brainstorm. Yeah, as well. All right. We can take that. In case Bryant finds a Brainstorm. Let's take that card from his hand. Yeah, as well. And now Bryant is Hellbent again. We have more than we need to win the game next turn. We just need 1 turn. Let's see. Okay, there's a movement. Burning Wish on top. Okay, we need to be lucky here. Really lucky. Peer into the Abyss. Exactly 7 mana. Bryant is down to 5. Draws 23 cards. I will not concede here, guys, because once on the Brazilian national tournament, I played on round 2 against a friend playing exactly Bryant Cook's deck. And he did cast a Peer into the Abyss and couldn't win the game. Every now and then this could happen. But it seems Bryant has it. It feels bad because we did everything right, I think. We had the forces. I don't think we did anything wrong this game. Mox Opal. Storm count is 10. And Tendrils. Alright. So let's concede. So Bryant's build is not that strong on the graveyard side, on the graveyard aspect. We could include Leyline of the Void. It is a strong card. We can play full defense here. Moonshadow, I think it's lackluster on this matchup. Even Hogak, we don't need to cast a Hogak to win. We need to counter my opponent's game plan and then win with small creatures. Let's side out 1 Brainstorm, 1 Thug, and Poxwalkers to include more answers. This is a hard matchup, and if you're playing this deck or other dredge builds in your local meta game, if you have other players on Storm, you should include specific sideboard cards like Mindbreak Trap or something. Unmask and Force of Will were good, but as we saw here, sometimes your opponents just have it. Let's start. This hand is not good. Let's mulligan. Okay, Leyline, Cabal Therapy, Force of Will. We don't need Bridge. This hand is awesome. This hand is good. Let's keep it. Bridge is gone. Bryant is mulliganing to 5. And we have Leyline of the Void. Bryant had a harsh mulligan to 5. So I think it's worth this. Yeah, let's name Lion's Eye Diamond here. Because this is a strong card that Bryant could be mulligan. Okay, Lion's Eye Diamond. Jing, jing, jing. Second, Blind Cabal Therapy here. This is usually my first choice when I play against Storm with a Leyline of the Void in my hand. Because one thing that Bryant could do here is just having enough mana to cast Burning Wish and win against my Leyline of the Void anyways. So Cephalic Coliseum is a good card. The thing is, we know that Bryant has a Veil of Summer, so our Force of Will loses value. We need to do something. So far so good. Bryant doesn't have much action from the other side, but we need to resolve our spells and find more things to do. Survey for Bryant. He kept the card on top, plays Underground. Oh, okay, we can counter that. So forget about Force of Will. Let's focus on winning the game. Otherworldly Gaze on our upkeep. Those are good cards. Let's keep Brainstorm and Cephalic Coliseum on top. And now we play Cephalic Coliseum and just pass. Next turn we draw Brainstorm, cast Otherworldly Gaze, and if we find Dredgers, we cast Brainstorm. Opponent attacks, we will not block. This Nakomiba is valuable. And now let's find some Dredgers. Otherworldly Gaze, okay. Even Force of Will here. But now we don't want more forces, right? Not against the Goblin Sorcerer. So we'll Dredge, Dredge, and Dredge. Great. We have 2 Narcos there, but no bridges yet. So I think I will not cast Cabal Therapy here. Bryant can cast Veil of Summer just to draw an extra card, but yeah, he will not do that. Oh, my opponent is bouncing our Leyline. We could go after another black mana here to cast it again, but Bryant doesn't have enough to win the game, so we might be still ahead. He has a Veil of Summer and 2 unknown cards. Let's crack Cephalic Coliseum during our upkeep here. I will not cast Leyline of the Void again. And Dredge, Dredge. In case you are hearing some background noise, my dog is next to me here and she's sleeping and dreaming. So okay, we have Narcomoeba and now Icorid can eat a Golgari Thug. Her noises. Okay, Dredge 6. We found our second Icorid. Let's attack here. Dealing 6 damage. We didn't cast a spell here, and I will not cast anything here. Since we don't have Leyline of the Void anymore, I will not give Bryant an opportunity to cash that Veil of Summer. Let's hope Bryant doesn't draw anything good here. Blue mana. Oh, Bryant is doing that just to draw an extra card. It's a way to cycle Boseiju, replace Lotus Petal, and nothing. We have lethal here. Bryant will need to chump block. So Dredge, Dredge. Eat a Dredger. And I'll draw here. Okay, another blue spell. Let's attack. That means our forces are now on. But again, I'm not sure if I'll do anything here. It's visible that Bryant doesn't have enough tools to win the game. He needs a top deck here. If I cast a spell, he would just Veil, so let's pass the turn again. Okay, Bryant is casting Veil of Summer. We should have another blue spell on top of our deck, right? Let's crack Cephalic Coliseum to just draw and discard. Draw, okay. Draw, oh, great. So let's force this Veil. We need to. And Bryant concedes, alright. We won one game, but this was hard. This is so skill intensive. We needed a blind Cabal Therapy twice, and we couldn't win game 1 because of that Burning Wish on top. Do we change anything here? I don't think Unmask is that good on the draw. Bryant can always just hold a Veil of Summer and draw an extra card. But I also don't think we have too many things that could be better. Okay, we have Leyline and Mana and Otherworldly Gaze. Bryant kept 7. I will keep this. Maybe Leyline can stop Bryant's plans for a couple of turns and then we can find something with Otherworldly Gaze, hopefully. But sometimes Leyline of the Void is not that good against Storm. So Bryant is going for it. Blue, okay. He has a bounce spell, so Leyline was awful. Oh, but no, nothing else. And now I have Unmask. So let's cast Unmask targeting him. Exilling Leyline of the Void. Does he have Veil? Yeah. Taiga is there. Cycling a card. Let's cast our Otherworldly Gaze. I think we keep Brainstorm. Okay, let's keep Brainstorm on top. It may help us to find a Force of Will. We need something here. I'll cast Brainstorm. Okay, we found lands. And Undercity Silvers is great here because now we can... let's put Narcomoeba and Grave Troll on top and cast Unmask targeting him. Okay? Song of Creation. We need to take Song of Creation because this card can win the game by itself. But Gamble is also pretty strong. Grave Troll in our bin. The thing is, Bryant will probably go for it now, but there's always a chance that Bryant gambles and discards the card. Lion's Eye Diamonds. Oh, probably the best of deck that Bryant could have here. Yeah, Dark Ritual, Gamble. Yeah, if I knew that my opponent had Lion's Eye Diamond on top, I would choose Gamble instead of Song of Creation. But any other mana would be enough to cast Song of Creation. So I think my choice was correct, maybe. And now Echo of Eons. No forces, unfortunately. At this point, I'm just hoping that Bryant has another Echo, so we can find a better hand. Lion's Eye Diamond, Mox Opal, alright. Ramping, Bloodstained Mire, Crack It, Underground Sea. Oh, another Boomerang Basics. Bryant is drawing extra cards, recasting Mox Opal, and now a second LED. Storm count is 11, 12. Yeah, Beseech the Mirror will finish the game. Oh, almost there, guys. This was actually pretty close. GG's. So intensive. Let's go to our next match. Round 3 against a Giganta deck. Tikidan. This is a mulligan. This is a keep, but not a good one. Let's put Hogak on the bottom. We need to resolve some brainstorms to get a better hand. Once upon a time, I learned to fear this spell. This usually represents crop rotation, endurance, White of the Reliquary, cards that can win against us. But my opponent is a Giganta deck, so maybe this is lands? The Tabernacle at Pendrell Val. Tabernacle usually means lands. An opponent plays a Boseiju, so I'm fully expecting crop rotation here. Another Dredger, let's place a Cephalic Coliseum and pass. Opponent stopped on our end step and did nothing. Wasteland. Okay, they are passing the turn, which is actually good. I would like to pass my draw step here. Oh, no, okay, opponents choose to stop on our upkeep. Let's cast a Brainstorm anyways. Force of Will. Force of Will is good in this matchup, but we don't have ways to advance our game plan here now. Hopefully my opponent will not have a second Wasteland. So I'll place a Cephalic Coliseum. Lila, tudo bem, Lila? My dog is coughing. Mox Diamond for my opponent. Discarding Dark Depths. Where's the Saga? We are so doomed. Oh, Sylvan Library. Right, this is a slower build. Let's get this Sylvan Library with our Force of Will. Opponent has 3 cards in their hand, and we'll draw. And I think I will cast this Brainstorm here. We have 1 non-card on top. Okay, great. Moonshadow, huh? It's a Moonshadow. I think we play it. If we have the right top decks, we can even grow this Moonshadow and we have mana to pay for Tabernacle. If my opponent doesn't have Life from the Loam to get that Wasteland back and back, this is a route to win the game. Let's see. Opponent draws. Moonshadow can secretly be a good card against lands because if you can keep Moonshadow in play, it can be huge. And it's fine if your opponent has cards like Gravedigger's Cage or Termite's Crypt, because to grow Moonshadow, the card just needs to hit the bin. Opponent casts a Rumble and grab a Thespian Stage. So no green mana. Okay, no green mana now. Cabal Therapy. Do we accept our fate here? Like, let's discard those Grave Trolls, attack for 2. Every now and then, it's rare. It's pretty rare, but some lands players sometimes don't have. In the past, this was true. Today, it is not true anymore. But in the past, they didn't always have a graveyard hate in form of artifacts. So there's a hope. A small hope, but it's a hope. Let's not... Oh no, actually I should attack here. Because to create a construct, my opponent needs to destroy to sacrifice the Eldrazi Spell token. Okay, that was a punt. I missed 2 points of damage. Oh, and opponent also had a punt there. Oh, maybe not. Maybe opponent doesn't want to lose that token yet. Yeah, I think this is what's happening. Crop rotation for my opponent. Interesting. For Dark Depths, I see my opponent will just go for the combo. They don't need to take our graveyard. They can find Lava Spur Boots here. Create a 2020 with haste. I think that's the plan. Yeah. So I'll not concede here just to show you guys. If this is your first time seeing that. In the past, I used to just concede in situations like this, but some of you comment down below that, no, I want to see what the opponent is doing. Okay, you saw. Let's concede now. Opponent has a 2120 with haste, indestructible, flying. So let's do better after sideboarding, knowing that my opponent is on lands. Dredge Return and Ashen Rider are good. Hogak is not that good because it's legendary, so any Caracas will be great against Hogak. I think that's pretty much it. Ikorid is pretty good against the Tabernacle. So against lands, Ikorid is better than Poxwalkers. That's maybe a good reason to re-include Ikorid in Dredge builds, because lands is rising and rising in the metagame. Last time I checked, lands were almost 6% of the metagame. It was like the fourth most played deck. So we should be aware of lands. In the past, Leyline of Sanctity was a great card against lands, but this is not true anymore because of Boseiju. You include Leyline, you mulligan until you fight Leyline, and your opponent on turn 2 destroys your Leyline and casts crop rotation and wins the game anyways. We are on the play. Without lands, come on deck, mulligan. Okay, this is reasonable, but we need more lands. Let's skip. We don't need Dredge Return yet. I'll place a valid Coliseum here and pass. Opponent is playing a build with more artifacts. Sphere of Resistance. I saw Sphere on game 1 when my opponent cast Malevolent Rumble. Okay, opponent had a Tabernacle in their starting hand. Exploration. Okay. And Thespian Stage and Urza Saga. Maybe I should counter Exploration, but now it's too late. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Ashen Rider might be good if we find creatures to exile Urza Saga on time. This might be good. We'll draw our land. We need to prepare our hand and top decks to have a great turn 3 and good enough to put Ashen Rider in play before Urza Saga pops. Oh, my opponent has a Soul Guide Lantern. That's a good target for Force of Will, but let's cast this first. Let's see what we have on top, because maybe we don't need this Otherworldly Gaze. Not exactly what we want. Now I think we need this Otherworldly Gaze. So let's put the land and Force of Will into our graveyard. Let's keep a Brainstorm on top, and let's counter Soul Guide Lantern with Force of Will. And this is good news because maybe my opponent doesn't have a second copy. So even if we don't find Ashen Rider, my opponent might have a Tormod Script or something, but sometimes, opponent doesn't have a second copy after sideboarding. Let's see. We draw our Brainstorm. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Find some Dredgers, please. Nope, it's not meant to be. I think I will keep Moonshadow and Underground Sea on top. This way I can cast a Brainstorm just to cast Moonshadow this turn. And then next turn, maybe we finally find Dredgers or just crack Coliseum, having more mana. Careful Study is beautiful. Let's keep Careful Study on top and Moonshadow. Okay, we have a plan. Opponent is not creating a 2020 yet, so we have a plan. We need to survive one turn. My opponent already spent a Soul Guide Lantern. Crop rotation for my opponents, so is this Bojuka Bog time? No, just Ancient Tomb, okay? Yeah, opponent feels they are ahead, so they don't need too much to win this game. Or maybe they have a Bojuka Bog in their hand. Opponent taps Ancient Tomb again, down to 16. Opponent is searching. This might be good news if my opponent is searching, yeah, just Expedition map, so they don't have Soul Guide Lantern anymore. But now they can crack Expedition map for Bojuka Bog maybe. Okay, opponent is attacking. No respect for Moonshadow. No blocks. Oh, opponent had a Dismember on our Moonshadow. Okay, so no Moonshadow for us. But my opponent is not respecting our graveyard. Hopefully we can teach them a lesson this turn. Opponent didn't respect our graveyard at all this game. So Dredge. Narcomoeba, please. We need a Narcomoeba. Okay, 2 Narcomoebas. We have Dredge Return, we have Ashen Rider. Oh, what a comeback. Let's see. Yeah, opponent didn't respect our graveyard, and now they will pay the price. This is not a win yet, but opponent has only one card in their hand. Let's name Crop Rotation. Sylvan Library, alright. Dredge Return, returning Ashen Rider. And I think we just exiled the tutor. Let's keep Ashen Rider around here, in case my opponent gets, Sylvan. In case my opponent gets that Tabernacle back. Now we need to find our Icorids. Opponent has only a couple of 3/3. They can destroy our Underground Sea if they want to. A second exploration, that's fine. That's good. Keep drawing explorations. Okay, opponent destroys our Underground Sea and passes. Dredge 6. We found our Icorid there. If we attack for 5, opponent attacks back for 6. Opponent goes down to 9, and then we have lethal with Icorid. So I think I just attacked with Ashen Rider, and then we have lethal if my opponent can't attack. If they attack, we have lethal with Icorid. So we are ahead. What a comeback. Oh, opponent is getting saucy here. No blocks. Do they have something? No? Okay, Icorid is coming back for you. We can exile Moonshadow. This is already lethal, but maybe my opponent has something. We so dismember this game. No, okay, we won game 2. I wasn't expecting that. So now let's see if we can also win game 3. Not easy. Lands is never easy. All right, game 3, and I think I'll mulligan this. This is slightly better. Let's skip. I would like to have a Force of Will, but Brainstorm can find us a Force maybe. Let's hope for a slower hand from the other side. Just Yavimaya. All right, Yavimaya is good. Grave Troll, our best treasure. Do I get a basic swamp here just in case? I think we can't give us the luxury of basics now. Oh, there's a small interaction here with Wasteland. If my opponent Wastelands or Underground Sea, Moonshadow loses one of its counters. Oh, Tabernacle and Sphere. Okay. And Moonshadow we trust. Buckle up, guys. This game 3 will be probably long. I hope. If this is a long game, that means we can win. If this is a fast game, it's because our opponent has everything. Narcomoeba, not exactly what we want. Let's attack, dealing 1 damage. We need to do that 19 turns. Best draws in our entire deck are lands or more enablers, but lands are precious. Urza Saga for my opponent. Life is awful. How can we win this now? Oh, there's more. The Rumble. Opponent is rumbling and rumbling. Boseiju, Crop, Ghost Quarter. Let's see. Great choices, great options. Opponent chooses Boseiju, who endures. Let's pay the 1. We draw Narcomoeba. Are you serious? 2 Narcos in a row. Let's cast this Brainstorm. We can tap one of the Cephalids. Actually, we don't get anything for casting Brainstorm right now. So let's wait. If my opponent has a Ghost Quarter or something, then we can cast Brainstorm. We saw Ghost Quarter in my opponent's graveyard. So if my opponent activates a Ghost Quarter, forcing us to shuffle, we can take this opportunity to shuffle some cards back on the deck. Yeah, you must pay the 1 for your Eldrazi Spawn token. Okay, my opponent paid the 1 with Yavimaya. And my opponent plays Wasteland. Okay, no Underground Sea for us. Moonshadow grows to a 2/2. Opponent can create a construct with Urza Saga if they want to. Now, at the end of my opponent's turn, let's cast Brainstorm. Another Moonshadow, but no mana. This will be tough. Let's pay the 1. We are locked after that Brainstorm. And we will attack, dealing 2 damage to my opponent. Opponent is trying to block Moonshadow with the token, but Moonshadow has Menace. Oh, opponent is trying again. Yeah, opponent is trying over and over to block Moonshadow with the token, but this is illegal. Okay, and now my opponent is creating the token. Oh no, actually Disruptor Flute. So they will probably name Cephalid Coliseum here. Yep. Now it's their turn. We have no actions. We can press F6 and wait. Urza Saga taps, creating a construct. Let's see if my opponent will respect the possibility of our graveyard or not. Maybe they need mana. Just a Mox Diamond. No, okay, this time my opponent knows better and chose Soul Guide Lantern, exiling our Brainstorm. We have no plans with our graveyard for the next 2 turns. We need to have a top deck after that. Opponent plays Boseiju. We'll pay the 1. Draw our Dredger. Let's attack. Opponent will go down to 14. Opponent is playing a little bit slower than expected. I would say that maybe my opponent doesn't have that much experience with Magic Online, or maybe with the deck, because their game actions are usually longer than what I usually see here against lands. Small things like, for example, which land I should tap to pay Tabernacle stacks. And then my opponent stays there 30 seconds thinking, oh, maybe this, maybe that. So that's okay. I remember when I started playing Magic Online, and every turn had something like 2 or 3 minutes because everything was so new for me. And I used to say to my opponents on the chat, please be patient. I'm a new player on Magic Online. I don't know what to do. Okay, my opponent finds Life from the Loa. Life is completely awful for us now because now my opponent has Wasteland, Ghost Quarter. My opponent had a misplay this turn. They played Yavimaya. They could play Wasteland or something like that, but they played Yavimaya instead. And we found a land. That's great news. So let's crack it. Moonshadow goes up to 3/3, get a basic swamp, and we'll cast our second Moonshadow. Can we win with Moonshadows? We need more lands here. My opponent will start to destroy our lands. So let's attack, dealing 3 damage. If opponent destroys 1 land, both Moonshadows will go up, and you'll have a 4/4 and a 2/2. Let's see. This is a way to win against my opponent's Soul Guide Lantern. Okay, opponent paid the tax with Tabernacle this time. 7 cards in my opponent's hand. They don't have Exploration. They need to choose only 1 land. And they have Urza Saga, Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, and others. Opponent is thinking and chose Urza Saga. That's good for us. We like that a lot. Okay, opponent will attack. We will not block. We need to draw something here. If we draw a land or an enabler, but especially a land, I can see a bright future for us in this last game. Let's tap Swamp and one Cephalic Coliseum here. The thing is, opponent has a 4/4 and we have 4 power in play as well. So, of course, my opponent will get an extra artifact next turn. So let's draw a land. Ashen Rider. Okay, let's attack. Nothing good here. We took several turns to find a land, and then my opponent will just start destroying them. Once upon a time, full price here, paying the Sphere of Resistance tax. Opponent is down to 7. My opponent is not new on Magic Online because they have the Brainstorm avatar. So I would say that maybe this is a new deck for them. Just my guess. Okay, opponent paid the tax. Saga goes up. I kind of want that okay, my opponent destroys one of our Cephalic Coliseums here because then we'll have bigger Moonshadows. Ooh, opponent didn't attack. They are respecting our shadows. Let's pay the price. Is Moonshadow holding lands? Holding the ground against lands? It's good. It's a good thing that this card is not legendary. So we can have multiple. Opponent stopped on our upkeep here and decided to destroy our Cephalic Coliseum. Okay, so Moonshadows can get bigger, but I don't think we can attack here yet. Another land, great. So let's play it. We already have 4 cards in our graveyard. At any moment we can... Do we play Cephalic Coliseum here? We could also just pass the turn, discard Golgargrave Troll due to hand size. Moonshadows get bigger. And if my opponent destroys my Cephalic Coliseum or Swamp, we can keep only one Moonshadow. At this point, I think our only chance to win this game is if my opponent messes up somehow. Because for me, it seems a pretty easy win for my opponent. They create more constructs, do this ad eternal. Eternum? Yeah. So let's work with this possibility that my opponent might do a wrong move here and we still have a chance to win this game. We have a 5/5 now and a 3/3. My opponent needs to pay 2 mana to keep the constructs around. Oh, they tap Urza Saga to pay the tax. So no new construct. They chose to keep Boseiju and Yavimaya. I wonder why. Do they have something to cast here? With green mana, but Yavimaya gives green mana to everyone. Okay, opponent chose a Mox Diamond this time, discarding Forest. If my opponent attacks here, we must block 1 construct, and then we still have a Moonshadow. No attacks. What's going on? Opponent plays Wasteland and destroys our Cephalic Coliseum. Okay, both Moonshadows will get bigger. We'll need to sacrifice one of them. And now it's interesting because we have a Dredger there, and my opponent chose to not sacrifice Soul Guide Lantern. So I'm not sure if we have a choice here. We can dredge or just draw. Let's pay the 1. We have a 7/7, Full Blossom. And let's dredge. Okay, we even have an Ichorid there. We have Lethal here on board. If my opponent attacks, we have Lethal. Of course, it will not happen because my opponent has a Soul Guide Lantern. They need to pay the 1 twice more. Yeah, Exploration is a great card in lands, and in this game, my opponent doesn't have Exploration, so they need to commit 1 land at a time. And this will give us time to reach something else. My opponent will probably finally crack that Soul Guide Lantern. Let's see. With the Ichorid trigger on the stack, it's just too juicy to not go for it. Yeah, my opponent exiles our graveyard. We will pay the 1 for sure. We draw Golgargrave Troll. So let's pass, discarding a Grave Troll. Opponent pays. Ghost Quarter for my opponent. Will they destroy our basic swamp? Oh, Fairmare card for my opponent too. Okay, they will not destroy our basic swamp, so let's pay the 1. We pass the turn again. Okay, opponent plays Thespian Stage. Still no attacks. What's going on? Let's pay here. We draw. Another Dredger. Nothing to do. We pass. Moonshadow is a 7/7 wall in this game. I don't understand. I'm not sure what's happening. Opponent paid the 1 there. I think my opponent is giving up because of the time. He's not even attacking. Yeah, my opponent is conceding. Okay, we won. My opponent lost that on time. Round 4, we are paired against Hughmann. We are on the play. Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep this hand. This is a special league to test Moonshadow and Legacy, and this hand can do exactly that. It's a slow hand, but this can be pretty good against some control or tempo opponents. Opponent mulligans. Okay, my opponent had a mulligan to 6, so let's play Swamp and Moonshadow. My opponent counters with Force of Will. My opponent really respecting Moonshadow here. Exiling Deceit, the new elemental incarnation, is Moonshadow's rival. We draw Hogak, so let's play with Flooded Strand and pass. we will cast Otherworldly Gaze, the basic island. Let's see if this resolves. Okay, it is resolving. I don't think I want Force of Will against my opponent. Moonshadow and Careful Study are pretty good. Considering, let's keep both, because since my opponent spent a Force of Will on Moonshadow, maybe Moonshadow is good against my opponent's hand. Tropical Island. So this is not Blue-Black Temple, this is something else. This is a different animal. So let's cast Careful Study here into Arc. Arcish Bowmasters, alright. But it's better that that Arc will trigger now, because then we can cast our 1/1 Moonshadow without losing it to the first Arcish Bowmasters. Oh, actually opponent is choosing here to maybe counter Careful Study. Yeah? Oh, Force of Will. Alright. Exiling one shit down, Librarian. No cards on my opponent's side. Do you know this card? It's a Bird Spirit. Wistfulness with Evoke to draw 2, discard 2. Is this a weird Reanimator deck? What's going on? Quantum Riddler and Force of Will. Oh, they discard just 1, not 2. Okay, Moonshadow is in play. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have another Arc. My opponent is stuck with 2 lands. Okay, the third. Birds of Paradise. Opponent has only 1 remaining card in their hand. So we cast Otherworldly Gaze on our upkeep. It is resolving, great. Good cards. Let's keep Cephalic Coliseum. I'm not sure if we should be afraid of Wasteland or not. Moonshadow is a choo-choo. I would say that we don't need to be afraid of Wasteland here. Hopefully. I think it's better to play Cephalic Coliseum here. Usually I would save it on my hand, but there is no guarantee that we can use Cephalic Coliseum in the next turn. And this will open a possibility of finding another Otherworldly Gaze or Careful Study or anything, and then finding another land to crack Cephalic Coliseum next turn. So well, my opponent is surveying with Hedge Maze. Quantum Riddler, Wistfulness. Is this an elemental deck? Brainstorm for my opponent, good card. You can cast it. We don't have Arcish Bowmasters. Misty for my opponent. And Tamio, okay. And my opponent might have or not have a good card on top. We don't know. But my opponent is Hellbent now. Oh, Brainstorm is good. Not immediately, but it will be good in the future. Let's cast a blocker. Stinkwood can block Tamio. And now we can cast Hogak. I will even tap Narcomoeba. This is a surprise, Hogak. Yeah, it was in my hand. You knew nothing about it. Hogak is pretty good against this board. Only small creatures, a giant trampler, and my opponent seems to not have white removal. So unless they can bounce Hogak or destroy via other means, we are good. Okay, opponent drew the top cards that they knew about it, and now they crack the clue. 2 cards in their hand. Wistfulness, to draw 2, discard 1 again. And this will flip Tamio, okay. But the flip Tamio is no challenge for our giant Hogak. Misty Rainforest. Opponent has only 1 card in their hand. Force of Will. I guess we just attack Tamio here. We could attack my opponent with Moonshadow, just as a 1/2, and to see if my opponent double blocks, and then we could cast a Brainstorm. But the way this game is going, I believe Hogak will give us the win, and maybe Brainstorm and Force of Will in our hand are actually good together, because we are no close to have 3 showed because of Hogak. Opponent isn't drawing good cards, it seems. Hogak is pretty good against fair decks, especially without white. This is actually one of our greatest matchups. Otherworldly Gaze is exactly what we needed. Let's cast... My opponent might have a Force of Will here. We can even force it back. I think it's worth the risk, so let's attack with everyone. This is already turn 8. If Psychic Frog was legal in Legacy, it would definitely be in this build, like we did in Modern last week. It's so painful that a good card took the hammer because of the Reanimator deck. Okay, my opponent will try to double block Moonshadow. Let's surprise them with Otherworldly Gaze. Would you like to counter it, opponent? We can even cast it again with Flashback. Ooh, great hits. Do we even... Yeah, I don't think we need Careful Study. We have Cephalic Coliseum in play and a Brainstorm in our hand. And a new Narcomoeba, Rise from the Ashes. Okay, my opponent is down to 5. And let's pass the turn. Ooh, some movement. Arcish Bowmasters. I think that's okay. Let's see if my opponent will try to finish Moonshadow. No, just after Narcomoeba. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze here, just in case if we find a bridge from below. No bridges, but Cabal Therapy. Also good. Do we keep Polluted Delta? No. I think now we are going for the throat. We don't need... My opponent is Hellbent. We can counter anything. Actually, my opponent has 1 card in their hand, but probably not a good one. Ponder from my opponent. That happens. Shuffle and concedes. All right. We won the first game. Against Tempo/Control, let's exchange Force of Will for Unmask and submit. Easy. Oh, this is almost good. Let's mulligan. We are on the draw. Let's keep this. Let's believe. Again, several draws can save this hand, and we can even cast Unmask targeting ourselves and then Brainstorm. Oh, my opponent has Thoughtseize, so forget it. Let's see what they will take. I would say that Brainstorm is the most powerful card in my hand. We don't have black mana yet, but maybe my opponent is... Yeah, my opponent is, again, respecting Moonshadow. Alright, so I'll cast Brainstorm immediately here. It resolved. And we have an Undercity Sewers. So let's put 2 Dredgers on top. We will draw one of them again next turn. And now we can cast Unmask targeting my opponent. Oh, nothing good there. Let's take up the Beanstalk. Since we have an uncounterable way to put a Dredger in our graveyard, let's take the most powerful card instead of Force of Will. Misty for my opponent, Cracking It, Tropical Island, and Birds. My opponent has Underground, Force of Will, and a no card. We'll play Undercity Silvers and mill Stinkwood Imp. And if my opponent doesn't have a Graveyard Hate here, we'll have turns 3 and 4 to win the game. Uncounterable. Cephalic Coliseum is uncounterable. It only loses to Stifle. So no attacks. And Dredge 5. Okay, we found all the Dredgers. Let's play our Cephalic Coliseum. Actually, let's just sacrifice Cephalic Coliseum. Dredge. I don't think my opponent has Wasteland, but my opponent might have Wasteland. In any case, if my opponent has Wasteland, they will just Wasteland our single land, but let's not provoke my opponent. Let's hold this information that we have another Cephalic Coliseum, especially because we couldn't find an Arcomoeba yet. Opponent's deck might have Endurances, so Thai builds especially have more green spells. So 2 Icorids, Moonshadow will be exiled, a second Moonshadow. I'm loving Icorids here, against our opponents at least. Makes me think if we could play a third copy. So let's cast Cabal Therapy, sacrificing our Narcomoeba. Opponent has an answer. Orcish Bowmasters. Oh, will they destroy one of their creatures just to exile our bridge? Yeah, it seems so. This is a miserable play that sometimes works, but not now. We can find our other bridges, and my opponent's Orcish Bowmasters did not a great job. Cabal Therapy, naming the big, the good Force of Will. Oh, my opponent had 2. Ding, ding, ding. And we can cast Hogak. Let's crack Cephalic Coliseum here. I don't even need to attack this turn. We can wait. So Dredge, another Bridge, Dredge, and Dredge 4. We are almost on the bottom of our deck. This is turn 4. Let's discard 3 Grave Trolls. Actually, 1 Stinkwood Imp, just as an Icorid food. It doesn't matter. And then we'll cast Hogak. And since we have 2 spare Cabal Therapies, let's create more Zombos. Chrome Mox is an interesting card. Chrome Mox. I remember once I tried to build a Dredge deck with Chrome Mox, but at the end, it didn't worth it. So we have lethal next turn? 8? Yeah, we have more than lethal next turn because of Icorids. Even without Icorids, we have lethal, but my opponent has 2 blockers. Opponent plays a tapped land. Ooh, we won. We won round 4. Let's go to our final match. Final match, guys, before going to sleep. This is a kip. We have a Force of Will, we have Moonshadow, we have Enablers. This is actually a pretty good hand. We only need more lands, but on the play, this is pretty good. Opponent kept 7-2, so hopefully this will be a good game for both of us. Let's play Polluted Delta, Cracking It. For Underground Sea, we need blue. And I'll cast Moonshadow. We are here to test Moonshadow, so let's play it. Tapped land for my opponent, Surveying, Brainstorm. Oh, that is a suspicious Brainstorm. Very suspicious. Usually when I see that art, it represents a combo deck. So Moonshadow grows. Unfortunately, we couldn't find our new land. But Brainstorm can put Narcomoebas on top again next turn. So maybe we can win even with a single land. Opponent had no counter spells. Oh, Dark Ritual, I told you. And Doomsday. So this is your combo, huh? Let's force it. Every card from Time Spiral or Mystery Boosters with a different art. Another Undercity Sewers for my opponent. Oh, they kept the card on top. That's scary. Now let's cast Brainstorm on our upkeep. We have 2 Dredgers. We should be fine. Dredge 5, Dredge 6, great. And Dredge 5. Ooh, Hogak and 2 Cabal Therapies, 2 Bridges. So oh, I forgot to click on Narcomoeba. Sorry, guys. This Narcomoeba should be back on top of our deck. That's fine. That's fine. Hopefully we will not need Narcomoeba against Doomsday. We have so many good things happening there. So I'll Dredge. Okay, we found another one. Oof. Better lucky than good. It's fine, guys. It's late. We are in the middle of the night playing Dredge, invoking zombies, elementals, illusions, horrors against several opponents. And now let's prepare everything here to... Yeah, my opponent concedes. Moonshadow will be already a 7-7. We will play Hogak with Chukabal Therapies. My opponent knows what's happening. Let's go to game 2. So Unmask instead of Force of Will, or maybe actually let's play both together. On the draw against Doomsday, it's a hard life. Moonshadow shined in this last game, but maybe we don't have room for everything here, on the draw especially. Yeah, and maybe if we lose and get the third game, start the third game on the play, I could re-include Moonshadows. I think Ashen Rider and Dredge Return are better than Hogak in this matchup. We can always, even against a resolved Doomsday, we can exile 2 lands with Ashen Rider and still have a shot. Let's try like that. One last brainstorm. Let's see if you can win game 2. Guys, if we win this, it will be a 4-1 result with just a single loss against the Epic Storm. That round was fantastic. So intense. Okay, I'll keep this. Force and Unmask with Dredgers. I don't want to pitch that careful study, but hopefully I don't need to. Opponent plays Misty. Opponent kept 7 cards on the play. Cracks Misty for Underground Sea and... Oh no. Okay, let's counter it, or try to counter it. Opponent had a turn 1 Doomsday on the play. They have Force of Will back. Okay. Opponent had the perfect hand, and now it will be difficult. Best draw in our entire deck is something like Careful Study, with Force of Will plus blue card on top. And then we discard Equate Grave Troll, or Grave Troll, Secret Imp, and cast Unmask, taking my opponent's Enabler, holding Force of Will. Okay, opponent chose 5 cards. Let's see the rest of my opponent's deck. Doughty Voidwalker, huh? Only 2 Voidwalkers and nothing else. Oh, Force of Will. There's a small chance, a slim chance that we can survive here. Let's cast Unmask, Exiling Stinkweed. Opponent has 2 cards in their hand. Only 2 lands, including 1 Wasteland. Yeah, okay, we'll lose game 2. Opponent had a beautiful starting hand. Even a Wasteland. I miss the days when Wasteland decks had no Wasteland. Wasteland is tough. Ponder. And we draw Golgar Grave Troll. Let's pass a turn just to see what my opponent has. That was interesting. My opponent chose a Ponder. And now they will win with Street Wraith plus maybe Cavern. Yeah, Cavern of Souls. That's fine. We will lose this game 2, but now we know that my opponent has 2 Doughty Voidwalker against us, and that's it. So Unmasks are even more important. Sorry, guys. It's late. It's late. Come on. Let's submit the deck back. I think it's already good. We could re-include some Moonshadows, but considering that my opponent has Doughty Voidwalker, Moonshadow is a little bit slow. We can cast Moonshadow and then start something, but then my opponent plays Doughty Voidwalker. I think we need to prioritize answers on the best Blue Dredge style, countering, discarding, and then winning. No, let's mulligan. This is so tempting, guys, because we have Unmask and we have Cephalic Coliseum. Both are pretty good, but this is also pretty slow. My opponent kept 7. This is so tempting, but let's mulligan. Let's do the right thing. Okay, this is a keep. We don't have cards for Force of Will. And now this is a good challenge here, because this would be a good hand of 6, but we need to take something. It's Cabal Therapy or Stinkweed Imp. If I put Stinkweed Imp back, I'll just try to be lucky and find some Enabler or... Let's keep both therapies here, guys. I think I'll start doing my own thing here. Underground Sea, Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves. Let's put some pressure on my opponent. If they have Force of Will or Force of Negation, they will definitely counter this Cabal Therapy. Force of Negation, Exiling Ponder, alright. And now we can try again next turn. Being on the... Oh, my opponent has Wasteland. Now we need to draw something good. My opponent kept a control-ish hand. We have a Grave Troll. We need to play Cephalic Coliseum here. We can't just hold it. Opponent draws. Underground Sea. Okay. And passes. Careful Study. Let's see if this resolves. Hopefully it will resolve. Brainstorm in response. Do you have a counter? Daze. Oh no. My opponent replays Underground Sea and passes. So yeah, several counter spells and no action from my opponent. Now we don't have action on our side. Let's pass the turn. Street Wraith, drawing an extra card. My opponent plays Underground Sea and passes. It seems both of us kept control-ish cards. Okay, Auto Legacy is good. It's slow, but it's good. Let's pass a turn and cast it on my opponent's up, just to dodge Force of Negation. It resolved. Great. Now what? I want Underground Sea for sure, and I think I also want the second Cephalic Elysium. This is an insurance against my opponent's plan. And now I'm feeling confident again, unless my opponent casts Doomsday exactly now. Ponder for my opponent. Ponder is good. Ponder is not Dark Ritual. Flooded Strand. My opponent didn't shuffle, that's scary. Underground. Oh, Brazen Bower. That's fine. That's not good, but it's fine. We can live with that. So again, let's do our own thing here. If we cast Cabal Therapy targeting ourselves, putting Grave Troll in the bin, we'll have Threshold guaranteed for next turn. And since we have Otherworldly Gaze, we don't even need to crack the Cephalic Elysium immediately. We can just pass the turn. If this resolves, of course. Okay. Grave Troll. Now my opponent knows that the coast is clear. They can do whatever they want. We don't have counterspells. But I don't think they have counterspells either, so it's a race. It's a race. 2 mana. Doomsday. Okay. Okay. We have one Cephalic Elysium and another one on top. My opponent is choosing their cards. Can we win against Doomsday? Okay, opponent exiled 45 cards. They have 4 cards remaining in their hand. Hopefully they don't have the win here. If they have Street Wraith or Age of Autumn, they might win here. If they don't have one of those cards, we can win. So just checking here. Wasteland, Wasteland. I don't know how many Wastelands my opponent is playing. Let's draw our second Cephalic Elysium. Let's play it and pass the turn. If my opponent has Wasteland, we can activate Cephalic Elysium. Street Wraith. Are they going for it? Okay. Consider. Fine. Ponder in the graveyard. 1 card remaining in their deck. Cavern of Souls. Yeah, my opponent is going for it. So let's teach them a lesson. Cephalic Elysium, my friend. The best enabler in our entire deck. It is so good that we can actually help you to draw 3 cards, even when you don't have them. Yeah, my opponent stopped here for a moment to think, to reflect. I mean, reflect doesn't work in English, but yeah, to ponder about their choices. Yeah, my opponent draws 3. And we won. Okay, guys, somehow we went for 1 with this list. I had a 4-1 result before that, so let's talk a little bit about our deck. We can see here we lost only to Bryant Cook on Tess, and it was a pretty close matchup actually. So let's talk about let's talk about our beautiful deck. All right, guys, before I'm going to sleep, let's talk about our deck. Moonshadow. Sometimes the card is amazing. Moonshadow, of course, is great as Ichorid food. I like to play Moonshadow, but I'm not sure. I think if we play a Moonshadow deck in Legacy, I feel like Moonshadow works in our deck, but every now and then you would like Moonshadow to be other thing. Maybe a Daze, maybe another Poxwalkers, maybe, I don't know, maybe even another land. Sometimes I think that we should play 15 lands instead of 14 in this build. But this is just the beginning of the test. Do you think we could play Moonshadow in Legacy Dredge? Maybe changing something in this first test? We had some amazing matches, but not always because of Moonshadow, but because Blue Dredge is awesome. Blue Dredge with counterspells and unmask and playing slowly but surely to win the game. It's a great strategy. Sometimes when you play Turbo with Lion's Eye Diamond and other flashy cards to be super fast, your opponent has an answer, and you have that moment of a Glass Cannon deck that just loses to a single answer, but not with Blue Dredge. Your opponent might have one answer, like we saw here against lands, with several answers. Sometimes your opponent has several counterspells, and you can still play, because all of your cards can do so much. Hogak, pretty good in this build. We had some moments here playing a surprise Hogak from our hand, casting Moonshadow to tap it with another creature to cast Hogak. The shell of the deck is good. Ichorid worked perfectly here, so maybe we could just play straight Blue Dredge without Moonshadow, 2 Poxwalkers, 2 or 3 Ichorids, maybe 1 more land, and then you have an even better deck. But it was fun to test Moonshadow. I don't think Moonshadow, at least on this build, will be a staple or anything, but it was definitely fun to test it. I will play a couple more leagues with Moonshadow just to feel the card a little bit more before committing to something else. But Blue Dredge is awesome, and Blue Dredge is back on the menu, guys. So if you want to see me playing, if you want to watch me playing more Blue Dredge or anything else, please let me know here in the comments. I'm always reading your comments here. So if you want to see me playing other format, other deck, anything reading, any suggestions, please use the comment section below. And don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. Our humble channel is growing little by little. See you soon on our next video. Bye.